I'm with Jonathan Feldstein from Genesis 123 Foundation, and we're talking about what Israel means to me. Jonathan, what Israel means to me?
It's a funny question. What Israel means to me? So we have launched the Genesis 123 Foundation, an incredible art contest for Christian children all over the world to illustrate in any way they want. Crayons, finger paints, or actually real illustrations or more significant art, what Israel means to each of them. And that's for children ages 5 to 17 in 4 different age groups. And we're really leaving it wide open to the children's understanding of the Bible, understanding of the Jewish people, the land of Israel, and to let them illustrate this in an incredible contest. We're hoping to have at least thousands, maybe tens of thousands of people participate. We have a group of judges, of which you are one, and we're also having great prizes for the top 3 winners in each age category.
And what sort of art are you sort of really looking for and wanting to see?
I'm wanting to see everything. I really don't know what we're going to get. I suspect that there are some budding Picassos out there who will give us fabulous illustrations or paintings in some capacity. Whether it will be biblically related or related to Israel, I don't know. But we're looking to see, what does Israel mean? Whether, maybe someone will illustrate Jacob leading 70 people down to Egypt, or Moses bringing back 2 million people from Egypt as the people of Israel, or maybe it's going to be just a montage of the flag of the state of Israel, or prophecies relating to Israel. This is the fabulous thing. In art and other things, we talk about having a clean slate. It's a completely clean slate. I have no idea what kind of art we're going to be getting, and I'm fascinated, but I'm so excited to see that children will be able to express it on their own.
So Israel has such a rich history and such a biblical history, so you could really be getting anything, couldn't you?
We can be getting absolutely anything, and certainly that will relate, since it's a contest for Christian children, certainly will relate to things of first century Judaism that have to do with Jesus and the apostles. And I'm an Orthodox Jew, but I look forward to that, because if I say to somebody, what does Israel mean to you? I want to know. I'm not trying to force thoughts on them. I really, truly want to know. And the panel of judges is a diverse group of people, Christians, Jews from all over the world, some who have art background, some who don't have art background, some are strong in Bible, some are less strong in Bible. So we're really going to be approaching this with hundreds of eyes looking at each piece of art.
Are there many budding artists out there, and is this from all around the world?
It's from all around the world. I will tell you, we have one of the greatest, or most interesting right now. We have a boarding school, a Christian boarding school in South Sudan that's signing up 25 of their students to illustrate what Israel means to them. That's extraordinary to me. I'm tremendously excited about that. I believe that there are budding artists. A friend of mine in Tennessee shared a picture that her 5-year-old did a few months ago. And I think he drew a Hanukkah menorah or something like that. I don't remember what it was, but for a 5-year-old, it was incredibly well done, and I felt meaningful. I thought it was very special. So I think we'll see things that are much more simplistic from an artistic perspective, but maybe deep on a historical or biblical perspective. And I think we'll see things that are really fascinating, stunning pieces of art that could be framed that might be a little bit lighter on the biblical or historical. I don't know.
As this is basically going all around the world, perhaps you might even see some of different cultures, other people's cultures in the artwork for Israel as well.
I'm so glad you said that, because, just today I had a conversation with someone in Korea. The one weakness is that right now we're promoting this program only in English. I believe that we will be getting to Spanish shortly, but there's so many languages out there. When I was just in Africa, in Congo, everyone speaks French. My high school French was very, very rudimentary, but we're not promoting it in French, but it's not a complicated concept for an adult to tell a child, here's a piece of paper, what does Israel mean to you? Go. So I expect that. I expect that maybe someone in Africa will illustrate people who are a darker skin tone. Maybe someone in Korea will illustrate something that's more Asian. And I look forward to that, because, again, that shows the richness of the perspective that people are coming and approaching Israel with, through the prism of their eyes.
So where did you get the idea for this?
So I'm not really sure where the idea came from, but for years we've had the concept of engaging people through art. The part of what the Genesis 123 Foundation does is we connect people on all kinds of unique levels to relate to Israel. And art is a prism through which people can do so. And we have a heart. It's very, very important, I think, to connect children So, I do remember actually now. Several months ago, I was having a conversation with one of my board members who's an artist. We'll give a shout out to Donna Calcaterra. And we came up with this idea, but it really didn't get going until this past fall.
What are the prizes?
That's excellent. So right now, what we're putting together is different packages for different age groups. It's not appropriate to give a 5, 6, 7-year-old the same gifts and prizes that we'd be giving a 15, 16, 17-year-old. So we're going to put packages together that are age appropriate. But one thing, I'm planning on making a stop at a antiquities dealer in the next week or so and picking up for among the first place prizes antique coins, 2,000-year-old coins, so that people, when they can actually hold a piece of biblical Israel in their hand. But we're putting that together. We have some artists who are part of the contest, and all of them make beautiful, biblically inspired art. So we're going to be giving out some of that. For little children, we're going to be giving them Hebrew coloring books. So even if they don't understand the Hebrew letters, it'll be just another way to connect them with Israel. But there's first, second, third place in each category, in each of the 4 categories, and we're looking forward to shipping those out.
Now, by doing this, you'll also be helping charity. What charities are you going to be supporting?
Excellent question. So the proceeds of money that comes in will be going to support children, orphans, and at-risk youth here in Israel. And it's important. We do that anyway from the Genesis 123 Foundation, but it's important because that's something that kids can relate to. Not every child grows up in an environment that's always safe, that's where they're protected, where their parents have the best parenting capabilities. So, and I'm hoping that that's not the case of any of the children who will be entering, but that they can relate. So we're going to be giving the proceeds to that kind of a project, and then letting the children know where the money went so they can feel connected.
And what are you going to be doing with the artwork?
The artwork we eventually digitalize. We'll probably get rudimentary copies uploaded to the website for the judging. But then we're going to take the original art and make digital copies. Digital copies will enable us to have exhibits, which we plan to do, duplicate the art and have exhibits in different parts of the world. There is talk of a book project as well, because I think that we will have a lot to learn from the children and the prism through which they look, and it will certainly include the winners, but I think that we can probably come up with 40, 50, 100 really extraordinary pieces by children in different ages, each explaining, and we'll use it as an educational way to connect children together.
And how and when will you announce the winners?
Great. So the winners, we're closing judging on May 14th. It happens to be the 75th anniversary on the secular calendar of when Israel declared independence. And we will be announcing the judges, I think, on June 7th or 8th. I forget which day. One of those 2 dates happens to be the day that Jerusalem was reunified in 1967. And we're going to be doing that live by Zoom. And we're going to have different levels, different stages of judging. First of all, any entrance can have friends and family come in and vote for them. We will then be having also you and other judges having a first round at all of the art that we get to pick the top 10 in each of the 4 age categories. And then from there, we will then take the top 3 in each of the 4 age categories in a second round of judging that all of the judges will be involved with. So June 6th, 7th, I don't remember the date, but one of those days, we're going to be doing a live Zoom announcement and engaging some of our entrants and then engaging some of the judges and engaging hopefully some special guests that we're working on as well.
Is this specifically connected with Israel's 75th birthday?
Yeah, it is. That was part of the idea, that we have a significant milestone birthday, and so we want people to be able to connect to that and celebrate it. Children may not be relevant to kids, but certainly celebrating Israel's 75th anniversary and having this art going into the 75th year is something that would be very meaningful.
It's quite a big celebration. Now, there's been lots of turbulent years, but do you see God protecting Israel over those years?
I think you can only see God protecting Israel. You know, my son served in the army, and young men and women do that. We've been doing it for 75 years, and serving into reserves for well into their 30s and 40s often, as my son-in-law does. But it's not through the might of an individual or a group of individuals. It's the divine protection of God that enables us to continue to defend ourselves, to be as strong as we are, not just militarily, but strong as we are on a economically, from a tech side, startup nation, providing technologies that benefit the whole world. All of that is coming from God. It's not simply the ingenuity of the Jewish people, but certainly that and the motivation to thrive here has complemented God's protection.
Is art a great way of getting the children to think about Israel?
I think art is probably the best way of getting children to think about Israel, because anyone can take a pen and paper or crayons or finger paint or even a piece of charcoal and draw a picture. And it doesn't require language. It doesn't require any significant historical understanding. If all a child knows about is King David and wants to draw a picture of what King David looks like, and that's a way to connect them historically and in the modern day, that we're the descendants of David, and through David the Messiah comes. I think that that's extraordinary. I can't think of a better way. We could do a music contest, but not everyone's musical. We do a writing contest, but not everyone can write. We could do a sports contest, but not everyone's athletic. This is a way that's uniform, and it's not going to be judged simply on the artistic value, but also on the substance.
This is all part of Genesis 123 Foundation. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so the Genesis 123 Foundation has a broad goal to build bridges between Jews and Christians with Israel in ways that are new, unique, and meaningful. Certainly what Israel means to me is new, unique, and meaningful. It's never been done before. We also launched some years ago an event, which now is happening again for the first time since the pandemic, Run for Zion, which is the first Christian program around the Jerusalem Marathon. We've done some incredible live Zoom prayer events all around the world. One of the other things that we do, I host a weekly podcast where I'm the only Orthodox Jew with a weekly program about Israel on the Charisma Podcast Network. It's me and about 300 other evangelical Christians who host podcasts. Mine is called Inspiration from Zion, and that's just another way of connecting, me being an Orthodox Israeli Jew, sharing different ways of different aspects of life here that people overseas wouldn't necessarily know about, and on and on and on. There are many other projects that we are doing and anticipate doing, and that's kind of the umbrella idea of the Genesis 123 Foundation.
Why do you work with Christians?
First of all, I love it. But even if I didn't love it, God called me to do it. Back in the late 80s, I was sitting in a church in Cleveland, Tennessee, when I was working on behalf of the Israeli Foreign Ministry. And it was the first time I was ever in a church. And I was watching Christians singing Hebrew songs, dancing Israeli folk dances, wearing blue and white costumes. And I didn't understand. I was a young man in my 20s, and I did not understand why Christians cared about, much less celebrated, and were praying for and supported the people and state and land of Israel. And that's where God called me to be a bridge between Jews and Christians. And it's so important. I was just engaging a pastor today from India who had a lot of theological questions for me. And I said, look, there are things that we don't agree on, Jews and Christians. But there are many, many more things that we do agree on. And first and foremost is we're the only people who worship the Creator, right? People sometimes say we worship the same God. Of course we do, but He's the only God. Anyone else who worships anything else is worshiping a false god. And so this is the Creator, and we have that in common. And Jews and Christians understand that He is the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. And through the Torah, through the Bible, through the promises, through Israel, but not only, we as Jews and Christians exist today. So for me, it's something that a calling. It's something that I love to do, and I think it's something that's so important.
Is it a healthy relationship?
Is it a healthy relationship between Jews and Christians? It's not always a healthy relationship between Jews and Christians. Jews and Christians don't always understand one another. Jews and Christians sometimes approach one another with, what's the word I want to use? The Jews and Christians sometimes approach one another with levels of misunderstanding, even sometimes animosity. That would come mostly from a Jewish side because of the history, the very sad and even bad history of the church vis-a-vis Israel and the Jewish people for many centuries. A lot of Christians don't really understand that we're here, there's the fulfillment of prophecy, that it's not a coincidence, and they don't understand what that means. So it's a work in progress, the relationship between Jews and Christians. It's certainly something that's budded in the last 75 years with the reestablishment of Jewish sovereignty in the land and the state of Israel. But it's not always easy. Sometimes I refer to what I do as a contact sport.
Now, you've recently been to Africa. Tell us a bit about that.
Oh, goodness. It was my first time in Africa. I was invited by a group called Africa Praying for Israel. That's my group. We manage a WhatsApp group with about 100 pastors and other Christian leaders around Africa. This is Africa Bless Israel, and it's based in Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo. And they invited me. It was my first trip, and I really had no idea what to expect. But I was so overwhelmed at the love, the support, the enthusiastic love and support, and it's genuine. Black Africa has not been corrupted by Western anti-Semitism, and they just love Israel. And in 2 of the 3 churches in which I spoke, when I was there, they have Israeli flags up on the front of the church next to the Congolese flag. You can drive around Kinshasa, a huge, huge city, and people are selling Israeli flags on the street corner. Yeah, it's just unbelievable. And I went with my kippah on. Everywhere I went, people came up to me on the street saying shalom, welcome rabbi, even though I'm not a rabbi, wanting to take my picture, we love you. All of that was very sincere, and it was unbelievable to be in the center of Africa, one of the biggest nations, both physically and in terms of population, and see this genuine love for Israel and the Jewish people.
What's your website for people who'd like to know more about the art competition?
Sure. So anyone who wants to check out the art contest and register their children, it always has to be an adult registering children, is whatisraelmeanstome.com. And the Genesis 123 Foundation is at genesis123.co.
Okay, Jonathan, thank you very much.
It's always a pleasure, Paul. It's great to see you, and thank you for this opportunity and doing what you do.